Warner Bros. Discovery to split into two companies. Womp, womp, womp. That doesn't seem good. Let's check it out. What the hell is even this? Let's read from the article in Variety. Warner Bros. Discovery to split into two companies. What the fuck? Warner Bros. Discovery grappled with declines in its overall business because they suck ass, said Monday it planned to divide the company into two publicly traded entities. One devoted to streaming and content production, and one devoted to traditional television. Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav, who people just voted that he shouldn't get the money because he's an overpaid motherfucker, will remain as the leader of the streaming-focused entity, while Gruner Weidenfels, the company's CFO, who's become known for finding new ways to cut old costs, will lead the TV company. Okay. Separation is expected to be completed by mid-2026, subject to closing and other considerations. And the bulk of the current company's debt, nearly $38 billion, will be assigned to the TV entity. Bro, what? That is fucking shady, dude. So they're going to split the company, keep all the DC assets in one company, and put all the debt in the other company? How is that even legal? By operating two distinct and optimized companies in the future, we are empowering these iconic brands with sharper focus and strategic flexibility they need to compete most effectively in today's evolving media landscape, said Zaslav in a statement. The company's emulating strategy recently put into place by rival Comcast. The conglomerate is breaking up NBC Universal with plans to place the bulk of its cable networks in the newly publicly traded spinoff called Versant, while keeping it broadcast and streaming assets on the better-known entity NBC. How is this even legal, dude? Warner has had to contend with many obstacles since being formed at the combination of AT&T and Warner Media. The companies once known as Time Warner and the former Discovery Communications. Under Zaslav, Warner was fiddled with streaming strategies, deprived top cable networks TNT and TBS of original content they need to flourish. Warner recently lost long-held rights to the televised NBA games, a contract that gave its networks a major supporting franchise that drew large crowds at a regular and had written down the value of its cable properties. Warner's recently appeared to find some rhythm. The Max service has developed solid audiences for programs including The Pit and White Lotus. That's true. And the company has recently articulated a strategy to targeting audiences interested with premium content rather than a broader crowd. And Warner has struck a new distribution deal with cable and satellite companies that call for what are seen internally as favorable terms, despite the loss of the NBA. The streaming company will encompass Warner TV and movie studios, HBO and HBO Max, and the Games Experience division. The company will focus on building HBO Max streaming service, investing in programming. Meanwhile, the TV company will include Warner's TV network, which comes with specific brands tied to the TV entities, including Discovery, Bleacher Report, CNN, streaming. So that company's going to fail. I just want you to know. That company's going to fail. Warner's move is likely to spur new speculation about a potential consolidation of the media sector. Part of the strategy behind Comcast Versant is the ability to do deals. Paramount Global, the owner of CBS, is under a new financial pressure and may have to consider new rounds of cost cutting if it cannot a deal in place to be acquired by Skydance Media. During an investor call Monday, executives suggested the two companies might continue to be aligned. Ad sales may represent both sides of the split, executives said, and sports, while being placed within the new TV company, will likely continue to stream on HBO Max for the foreseeable future. Though these plans could change up the companies to plot their own strategies in the future, U.S. sports rights will reside in the global networks, and its management team will determine how best to monetize streaming and digital rights over time. Okay, so what does this mean? It means the shady corporate entities are doing shady corporate entity things. This was something long speculated. And in fact, I believe several weeks ago, there was some kind of financial analyst firm, or maybe it was even like a journalist organization. It would probably have to be a firm, because I think they downgraded the credit of Warner Discovery. Right. So they downgraded their credit because they lost $11 billion last year, and they don't have the assets and the future proofing that like Disney has, that Apple has, some of these other companies have. So Warner Bros. Is kind of in a very tough spot. Their stock price and their market cap has been absolute shit over the last couple of years. So what Zazzy's doing is he's like, I want to split the company. I'll put all the good shit in one company. I'll put all the bad shit in a different company. We'll put all the debt in the bad company, which means that could either be, acquired on the cheap, or, we divest, get it off the books, something like that. It could potentially, I guess, even go bankrupt, so it doesn't hurt the company a ton. with it failing, and it's a weird way to like separate the debt from the assets under DC and whatnot, right? So this is kind of interesting. It's technically possible both companies get acquired. They could get acquired by the same parent company. They could get merged into the same thing, or they could be done separately. From what I've seen, a lot of people out there are speculating this just is the first step into some kind of a merger or acquisition, which we know Zaslav has been thinking a lot about over the past couple of years. If that happens and somebody buys the company that has all the DC stuff, they could absolutely fire James Gunn and fire all his whole team and replace them all. That is, actually, we've literally seen that happen to Warner Brothers themselves a couple of times when they had like different mergers and acquisitions over the past 10 years. I don't predict that. I don't think that'll happen, but a lot of that would ride on what happens with Superman. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, this could be the beginning of something really, really crazy. Kind of hard to say for now, but it would technically mean potentially new bosses in charge of DC, Warner, all of those sort of things, which at this point includes what? Dune, Harry Potter. Like, they've got some IP that they've done fairly well with in the last couple of years. I guess even Sinners, maybe Minecraft, right? So they got some juice, man, and we'll just see. Super shady business things going on. And potentially, I mean, I guess I wonder how Gunn would feel about this, you know? I mean, it's completely out of his control. I don't know if there's too much he can even do about it. But does this mean that there's like another layer now to the way this could all go bad? You know? And by the way, this is a DC problem. Warner Brothers has had this problem. They've had people come in and try to recalibrate how DC does their thing, et cetera, over the years. So we'll see. This could end up being pretty messy. The beginning of something really big. Yeah, so I guess we're just going to see. I don't think it's anything as crazy as like Disney would end up owning Warner Brothers, although that has actually been closer than you think a couple of times throughout history. But either way, I think it's potentially a big deal. It's connected to the stuff we're talking about with Superman, because I would say this. If Superman bombs, which again, I do not think it's going to, right? But it did cost them $400 million. So like, let's be real. They got to get to like 900 million to even break even, $1 billion to break even. If this thing really underperforms, oh my God, dude! Like I think you get a sell off. I think you get a merger, and then I think Gunn's out. Like I think that's just what it is. Especially because Zaz and them would basically not. The buck would no longer stop there, right? So we'll see, guys. That's the news. That's the report there. Anybody have any comments, thoughts, questions, any insight into this situation? Amazon takeover? I highly doubt it would be Amazon. I suppose it could be. You know, some of these things get tricky, right? So like Disney and Amazon, they probably wouldn't allow that. Like that seems like antitrust maybe. But Warner Brothers is like so... Like Warner Brothers is just really not doing well. The IP is basically all they have. And so another company like Amazon might just say, hey, we need the IP to be able to fight in the future. A little bit like how Disney was able to massage the Fox acquisition. Because if you recall, one of the things Disney brought up was like, we're not in competition with the studios. We're in competition with Google and Facebook. And they were talking about like technology, theme park experiences, but also streaming. And so Disney's plea to the United States government when they approved the acquisition of the Fox assets had to do with sort of the uncertain future of how entertainment companies like Disney would have to adapt to competing against tech companies. Right? So, yeah, we'll just see. Because, again, the government could smash down any antitrust stuff. You know, you have a conservative administration in there, so they're probably less likely to do so. But it would depend. In some ways, conservatives are more antitrust than liberals. It just kind of depends, right? So, yeah, a lot of hoops that they would have to go through. And this is basically just confirming what a lot of people thought was going to happen. It does seem shady. I do think this could hurt the credit of the company particularly the one that now holds all of the debt and no longer seemingly has all of the valuable assets. Again, unless I'm reading this completely wrong, that seems honestly illegal to me. Like, I don't even know how that's legal. But, man, if I could do it as a CEO, I absolutely would. That would be incredible. So we'll see. We'll see if it gets approved, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, we shall see, man. It's pretty wild. How much did they donate to the president? I mean, I don't know. How much did Elon donate? You know what I mean? Does that even really matter? I'm not sure. I am not sure. Stripped and sold for parts. I mean, it in a way, yes, that does feel like what this is. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think that's the running narrative. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking about. And by the way, Zaslav right now, very unpopular guy. 60% of the board members think he's overpaid. They did not sign for his new salary. Right? So, like, dude, there's like Game of Thrones shit going on over there, man. Like, he's the Mad King in some ways over there, you know? So we'll see. Universal is about to buy DC and then make Hulk versus Superman. Dude, Hulk versus Superman would slap. Hulk versus Superman would slap, man. That would be incredible. Apple should buy DC. I think, Apple is such an interesting company right now because, I mean, they have like all the money in the world. They have a ton of cash on hand, $1 trillion company, and they're making a bunch of shit. Like, the Apple stuff is great. Like, the TV shows, the movies. I like the Apple stuff a lot, but it doesn't make money. You know what I mean? Like, they're not making money over there. And I don't know how much longer they can just spend that kind of money. But, man, Apple did spend a lot of money, and they have some incredible stuff. So, like, if Apple had DC, wow, dude. Wow. They'd drop some money, man. They would not be shy about dropping some money. So, yeah, that's kind of an interesting pick for sure. I wish Apple, I wish Apple would get DC, yeah. That's Amazon with Lord of the Rings. That's true, actually. So it doesn't always equal quality. And, of course, Rings of Power is a good example of that, for sure. I think every big tech company will be a legacy studio by 2040, or they'll have acquired them all. Yeah, that's probably fair. Amazon already owns MGM. No way they would approve for Warner's. But, I mean, what is Warner's market cap? Like, I know it seems like Warner Brothers is this big, valuable, prestigious, over 100-year-old studio or whatever, but, like, that sounds to me a little bit like Kodak. That sounds a little bit to me like Blockbuster. Like, dude, sometimes things just change. And people and companies get buried and disappear. That's just business. You know? Yep. Okay, guys. I think that'll do it for this one. A lot of mystery out of there. We'll see where it goes from here, but certainly some shocking news to add into the Warner Brothers confusion and the sort of questions around Superman and the performance that movie will have and what it means for Gunn and everybody else over there. So there you have it on that. Thanks for watching. And if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.